All right. Hello, Gemini. Thank you for giving me a couple of minutes to get everything set up here. I hope that you're doing well. And I'm really looking forward to talking about everything that came through. I was actually trying to feverishly type some of the information into your channel messages because there was just a lot that I was picking up on this morning. Apollo is just coming in from the other room. Yeah, there he is. We'll have him join us in a second, but we're going to light the candles today, set intentions. We have a lot to talk about. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. My little furry assistant in the background is Apollo, which again, I'll bring up in a little bit here. But today we're going to look at the next 6 to 8 weeks, focusing on empowering you and really preparing you for all the opportunities that the universe has to offer you. You can see my format here. We'll always start off with channeled messages. Then we'll expand it a little bit and take a look at the Celtic Cross. I always let it take whatever form it should, and then we can go into the specific areas of health, wealth, love, and destiny after that. We have all the other usual components from the big ideas, blessing and block, viewer's choice, and then we have the new piece now, which is going to be sun, rising, and moon specific messages. And also at the very end, there's always room for a final question, something that you're trying to figure out. Now, because this upcoming month has a retrograde period, I've been picking up on a lot of really cool things in each particular sign, and it feels to me like there's like fresh starts that we can all make. So that's my goal, is to help you with that. So sometimes I like to light the candles, and today I wanted to do that because I was finishing up on the messages. So let's do that, and then we'll get into the reading, okay? Whenever you're working with anything metaphysical and you're connecting to source, it's really good to set an intention. And because many of us may feel overwhelmed, there's a lot going on, this is a particularly important thing to do. So I'm going to help you with it today. It'll only take a moment, and then we'll get into that reading. All right, so as we get started, 2 wicks in this candle, we're going to connect to source, so just close your eyes. And we're working with the constellation Orion today. So you can just imagine one of the brightest stars from Orion shining down on you, putting this beautiful halo of light around you. And as you're connected to that starlight, I just want you to make the intention here that you're really open to receive guidance in the highest forms, and that you are not going to allow anything fear-based to enter in, anything that is distracting, really clarifying your connection to source, being a clear channel. And then think of something this month that you're trying to create, something you're trying to breathe life into or find, and hold that in that light and in that space. And we'll read it today as I'm looking at the cards. So thank you, Source Energy, for coming through, for keeping us clear, and for directing us towards that intention that we are all looking at. So beginning with protection, let's call in Archangel Michael and ask for protection and guidance as we do this reading today. Because we're working with intuitive energy. Again, a message for clarity and connection. Archangel Gabriel allows us to connect to the highest source, allows us to be clear channels, and to remove any of our filters that get in the way of that clear channel. And for the last two, let's work with an angel of basically of death and rebirth. I know that sounds weird, but not really, because we're going to be entering into a period of retrograde, which allows us to reset cycles. So you can do Azrael, Zerachiel. Basically, we're just asking the angel of transformation to come through and help us make the necessary changes so that we are able to move on, move to that next level. And now, with the help of all of these archangels that we just worked with, let's also call in our ascended masters, guides, ancestors, any other archangels you work with. I usually work with Raphael. Let's go ahead and call them in now and ask for their assistance. Again, everything's going to have to filter through Gabriel and Michael. All right, thank you so much. And that is that. It's a great way actually to start the day, setting intentions, lighting a candle or two as you're getting ready. You'd be surprised how that can really kind of help set everything in the right direction. All right, if you're new, please do me a favor here and hit the subscribe button. If you want to join live in the chat, that actually is a requisite, so go ahead and do that. Otherwise, it just helps the channel grow, and it's absolutely free. Even though it says subscribe, it's just the same as follow. Go ahead and hit the bell icon and like as well. As I'm moving through this sort of shift in my schedule, which is temporary, it'll be a nice way to follow me so you know when I go back to the regular 9 a.m. Pacific. Join me on social media as well. It's just my name everywhere except Twitter. And remember that if anyone contacts you or says that this is my second account or something, it's not. There's a lot of imposters out there. If you don't see it on my website, it's not my actual account, okay? I'd love for you to also give back if you'd like to, and you can do that through Super Chat or Super Stickers. I see a bunch of familiar faces here. Andre's a member, you can see with the green text, so that's another way to give back in a consistent way. One thing that I would love for you to do while I'm talking through the channel messages is put some suggestions out on which decks you want me to use. This is for the live folks only. I'll take that into consideration and then I'll let you vote on it. That's just something nice that I can do for those of you that got up early and want to join. One of them that I was thinking of was possibly working with Wildwood today or something of that nature, but we'll think about it. You go ahead and consider it while I get into the channeled messages. Channeled messages. I like to work a lot with dream interpretation here on this channel and also through meditations in the morning. So this is going to be combining a little bit of both. And we're going to work with one of my favorite totems today, which is the energy of Orion, both the god and the constellation. And if I have a little time here at the end, I'll pull up an image of the Orion constellation. I'll have to do a Google search for it and then just kind of do the screen grab. But just in case you're not sure what that looks like, I can show it to you. Particularly the nebula around it, because that's kind of what we're going to be focusing on as I get into these messages. So I was connecting to this in dreams last night. A lot of times I'm shown planets or constellations, and last night I was looking up at the night sky and I was looking around Orion basically, and I saw Scorpius, Orion, and all of that, and I was like, all right, I got to talk about this tomorrow morning because it's basically featuring in my dreams in a major way. So let's talk first about the mythological god, Orion, and then we'll talk about the constellation and how this is going to apply to you. So I put the King of Cups here because Orion is the son of Poseidon and can walk on water. So I thought, which better card here to choose than the King of Cups? As a totem, he symbolizes the ability to overcome even the most challenging odds. There are other symbols in religion that walk on water too, and it's similar to that. And we don't have to take it literally. It's more of a symbol of being able to surprise people, to basically do something unexpected. So whether for some of you that might be going back to school, starting a business, maybe taking a break from working and prioritizing family, whether it's adopting or having a baby or whatever people don't expect from you but you most want to do, show them what's possible. That's basically what this particular symbol of walking on water symbolizes, okay? And then King of Cups also for many of you says that it's time for love, for creativity, and for passion to come through for you, especially if you've been focusing your time and energy on others or on other affairs, like I said, business or school. So love, happiness, passion, the impossible, all of these things are basically intrinsic to that, okay? I love Orion. He definitely goes overboard, though, and that was his his undoing here. There was a point at which he hunted with Artemis and her mother Leto, and he was a little overly enthusiastic and decided he wanted to kill every animal in the world. Not surprisingly, Gaia, Earth Goddess, said, no, you're not going to do that. And she sent a giant scorpion after him, and that's basically what undid him. An interesting piece with that is that we've got this big hunter, half god, demigod, whatever, and it was a little tiny scorpion that got him. So we want to pay attention to details with this particular myth. And we also never want to underestimate challenges in front of us. So particularly if somebody's coming through and they have questions on something that you're trying to present or a contract or whatever, make sure you address all concerns in the room. Never underestimate someone that is trying to challenge you. And as long as you are prepared and react, I think you'll be fine. It's about overlooking a small detail. And I think as long as you don't do that, you'll be all right. This is what created the constellation, though, because he was a hunter. He was a great hunter, actually. So it's not surprising that Artemis wanted to see his likeliness put into the sky. So that vestige in the sky that we see is basically Orion the hunter. So there you go. And then there's Scorpius too, because of the might of that little scorpion, right? So I like the kind of combination there and the surprise that's a part of that. Okay. So the Orion Nebula M42 is a star factory, which is a fancy word for like this dense cloud out of which these beautiful stars form. This is kind of like the Seven of Cups in tarot, but I chose to feature the Ace of Pentacles here because, first of all, it's a star factory. And I believe that if you can clear your head, you can take something like this out and create something amazing. So the one thing that is coming through is like confusion, focus, or distraction is the one thing that could keep you away from that like floating Ace of Pentacles. So try to stay organized in that chaos. So that's what I said. Get organized and bring order to the chaos. Focus on one or two things. That's also why I featured the Ace of Pentacles. I believe if you do that, you're going to be setting yourself up for success. And Andre was talking about the belt of Orion, something that I love. And the three stars in Orion's belt are connected to the pyramids in Egypt, in Giza, and definitely are part of like death and rebirth, which is why I featured this here. So the death card, or transformation as I prefer to refer to it, is kind of like a necessary turnstile or gatekeeper. And the death card is basically saying, in order for you to fully embrace and be ready for the next step, something needs to give, something needs to sort of like go away. And there probably is a habit or something that you're doing in an extracurricular, maybe even a person, place, or thing, that it's time to release. Figuratively speaking, it doesn't mean an actual physical death, though it can be, but typically it just means transition or movement. So it's time to let go of the old and usher in the new. And that's all death is really asking you to do. Because once that release happens, then there's space, and in that space, something new can prosper. And so you may think that you're finished with something or a path, or that nothing else is coming, but that's exactly when the universe is going to start rushing in and saying, actually, we have much more in store for you. There wasn't even room for me to feature an image on this one, but I just wanted to talk about some of the stars in Orion, which I love. The very bright stars, which is why we can see it with the naked eye. There are a couple here, Betelgeuse, which everyone's heard of because of the movie Beetlejuice, and then Rigel, that are about ready to go supernova. Betelgeuse is in the right shoulder, but it's the 11th brightest star in the sky, and Rigel is the 6th brightest star in the sky. So in the sci-fi book that I wrote, Rigel was one of the characters. I wanted to think of really bright, luminous beings. Aldebaran is one of the other ones. So I was always picking supermassive, bright stars. The thing with a supermassive star is they typically burn bright and then also burn out. So there was another one, Bellatrix, which is in there, which I think Harry Potter has a character named after, something close to that. And that one is also kind of burning out quickly, but not big enough to go supernova. But these two will, not within our lifetime, but cosmically speaking, soon. And it'll take a while for what we see in the sky to catch up to that. But here's what I would say with this. 6 of Pentacles is the card that I would have put here, but the text would have gotten too small. You have to pick and choose. If you try to do everything, it'll be burnout. The other one that could be featured is 10 of Swords or Tower. So resource management is important so you avoid the Tower. So I would say 6 of Pentacles avoids the Tower and helps you grow in a sustainable way, okay? And then the final piece was something that, as I was looking up at the stars, I was hearing whispers, basically. Whispers through the trees, almost like it was like the wind, but there was messages coming through the wind. And also in my book, I have this, I think it's a whispering pine. Same sort of thing. Sometimes what we think is just something subtle, it's something big. The universe speaks in a very subtle way. If you're awake and you're aware and you're paying attention to the signs, it actually kind of looks obvious. So slow down the pace, be mindful, be present, be also intentional, and that's going to help you connect to these messages. And those are the beautiful sort of symbols that came through. Let me see if I can get a picture of the M42 Orion Nebula for you, and I'll just feature that real quick, and then we'll move into the reading. Okay, so give me just a moment to get this open, and continue to suggest some card decks that you'd like me to use, and then I'll go ahead and put up a poll in just a moment here. So M42 Orion Nebula, just in case you're not familiar with it. Yeah, okay, I think I can just go to the Wikipedia page if I need to. So let's see. Okay, here we go. So let me go ahead and just feature this for a second. How's everybody doing today, by the way? It's hard to believe we're already at Friday and that we're already kind of almost at the mid-year point, and I'm looking for June, right? This has been an interesting and quick sort of going year here. All right, so here we go. Let me just zoom out of everything except this, and I will show you what I'm looking at. All right, so here's the Orion Nebula here. If we kind of click into it, it's kind of beautiful, isn't it? Right? Just in case you weren't sure what it looked like, there you go. You can go to the Wikipedia page too and see some different images of it. But that's kind of what I meant when I was talking about a star factory. Just that beautiful sort of massive cloud where life begins. And because of the way that like those clouds and nebulas work, think of the beginning of our universe where the sun brought order to chaos. You're also that sort of sun or star that needs to bring order to the chaos. But that means a lot of times stepping into the middle, trying to conduct, trying to direct, trying to bring, again, some sort of like direction or order. All right, so let me look at what you've been asking for as far as, okay, we have light seers. Let's see what else is coming through. Okay, I'm going to pick a few while we're looking at this because I'm not seeing that many except light seers. And I'm going to look for some cards that have some stars in them as well. So give me a second here and we'll go with that. And I may just feature some that have the stars on the back. So give me a moment here and I will pick a few for you and then we'll get started. I'm looking forward to it today, including maybe one or two that didn't get picked from yesterday. Also including this one. All right, let me see one more that might be calling to us, maybe an older one that I haven't used. Oh, let's do one like Star Secret. Okay. Let's take a look at what we've got. Well, like I said, I'm going to do, here's my sort of, so far what I'm looking at here. Let's zoom in so we can see what we're doing here. So Star Seekers, because hello, that's in the name. The Light Seers, because you guys were talking about that. There actually are some star cards in this one, believe it or not. If I were to pick, there's like the North, oh, maybe it's a different, yeah, no, I think it is. There's like the Pole Star, the North Star, but there's that one. And then I picked this one yesterday. Let me see if there's anything else that has more stars in it than this. Let's see. I have one other one that I'm going to feature just because it's ethereal. So I'm going to do a swap here. So we're going to do this one instead. Last minute changes. All right. So here are the choices today. Why did I forget the name of this one? Is this the Fountain? I think this is Fountain. All right. So I think we have the Star Seeker, the Light Seeker, the Fountain, and then this one definitely has stars in it. We have one that just popped up right there. This is the Wild Unknown. Okay, so give me a moment here to type it out so you can vote on it. And sorry, it took me a second there. I literally just went with intuitive flow for what I wanted here. So Star Seeker, the Light Seer, and I believe this is Fountain Tarot. It's been a while since I used it. And then what is this? I just had it. Wild Unknown. Yeah, this is actually an amazing selection, and I don't use them all the time. Everyone keeps asking for Aphrogoddess, but then I've been using it, and it's not been featuring in the... I'll probably pick it on the weekend, but... All right, so this is the first option, Star Seeker, and beautiful, just beautiful, literally does have stars. You were asking me for something that had stars, and it's all just a very beautiful deck, so that's option number 1. Very different. It's not your typical Rider-Waite-Smith deck at all. We're all very familiar with the Light Seers deck, and it's just gorgeous. So I'm happy if you choose that as well. So you know that one. And then Fountain, very light, very ethereal. There is stars in this one as well. And it is just very sort of, yeah, it's to me just dreamy. That would be the way to put that one. And then almost cosmically, like this one's filled with stars. It's illustrated and mostly black and white with touches of color, but like beautiful, right? So this is option number 4, Wild Unknown. Okay, so now you've got your options, and let's see what's going and what's winning here. So we have Star Seeker actually in the lead and probably is going to win. So I'm going to give you a couple more minutes here. 3, 2, 1. Looks like Wild Unknown pulled up in the last moment. So we'll hold and see what's going on, and then I'll move from there. All right. So it looks like Wild Unknown. Perfect. Okay. You chose well. I mean, there was no bad choice with that one. And I'll just have to remind myself to maybe feature some of these on the weekend too, because they're amazing. And I just was kind of looking at stuff I hadn't used. I have a lot of favorites, and I have to remind myself sometimes to just kind of use something different, which is what I did today. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to begin the Celtic Cross. Again, this is going to be for the next 6 to 8 weeks. It's going to be for the sign of Gemini, and super happy to be here with you guys. All right. Let's give this a couple of good shuffles. As always, you can use this on Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus. And yeah, Andre, I do have the Syrian starseed. It's a little odd, though, because so many of the cards are very, they're modified quite a bit. Before I use it, I'd want to sit down and make sure that I recognize all the suits, because I think it's highly modified. Probably more likely to use that one in an oracle sense, but I'll take a look at it maybe today and pull it into rotation. This is such a beautiful deck. I am happy that we chose it. So good choices, everybody. My only complaint on this one is I have to look really close for wands and swords, because they don't always call them out. Well, they don't list the minor arcana. You have to just pay attention. So that's my only criticism of this otherwise perfect deck. And in particular, the 10 of wands and 10 of swords is very close. And that's tripped me up more than once. But when we go for something where it's very obvious like this, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's like one of the best. Everybody always asks what circle deck I'm using, and it's the oracle related to this one, Wild Unknown. You can always go to my website for a list of decks that I use. I don't have the oracles up yet just because I don't have the time to sit there and list all of them out, because it'd probably be another 50 or 60 decks. So I might do a text list of those, whereas all my tarot ones, I take a little picture of them so you can identify them. And actually this oracle is also, she has 2 oracles, and this is an oracle related to this deck. So you'll see it's in the same sort of illustrated family. Okay. Let's go ahead here. Give me a second just to focus, because I was talking and I just want to see what's going on. Okay. And it's very interesting that I talked about the Seven of Cups and it featured at the center, so that's cool. All right, let's begin with your catalyst, and then we'll talk about everything else. So your catalyst, of course, is something to help keep you on track, help keep you from being distracted, really bring you into your power. So we have the inner knowing card here connected with High Priestess energy, Magician energy. Also for many of you, that sort of entrepreneurial energy that I would expect with something actually kind of like the Hierophant, the way that I'm looking at Ganesha here. So Ganesha is there to help us get past our blocks and our boundaries as well. And I'm just kind of looking at some stuff around him as well. There's something in, I can't tell what's in the water here. It looks like a beetle or something in the background. But one thing that I would say here is avoid distractions and get back to what it is you're trying to do. So there's also a very sort of Two of Wands message that would come with this. So with the Two of Wands, we always kind of hold our dream, our vision, or our goal right there so that we can check, how does this look? How does that look? How are things comparing to my overall vision? So you can hold that within, you can listen, kind of pick up on what's going on. Trust the heart, trust the gut. That's what's going to lead you on the right path. What people say a lot of times is just, it's distraction, it's noise, it's chatter around you. So take time, make time to tune in and then tune out that, okay? That's a simple but powerful message to start things off. Now let's take a look at the two center cards here. So we have the Seven of Cups, which is about trying to clear your mind a little bit on some levels and figure out what's important. And then we have the Justice card, which is figuring out, what do I want, not what do they want? What do they want me to sort of like do or be, etc. So it's interesting that, you know, traditionally this card would show, no, I'm sorry. So 5, 6, 7, it's 8. Have to have my glasses on. 8 of Cups. Okay, so love this better. So the 8 of Cups, again, have to really look at the characters when it's out here. I'm like, wait, 7, 8. So the reason that the cups are broken on this one is the breaking of a cycle. Okay, so making and breaking. So a traditional 8 of Cups, let's just pull up the Rider-Waite-Smith so we can look at it and then talk about why this artist chose to break the cups. So one moment here. So with a traditional one, you would see someone walking away and there's room for that extra cup to come back. So for many of us, we may be at a point where we're thinking, you know, I feel like I want to do this, but I'm afraid. What if I do this and I have regrets? What if this really is the best place for me to be, etc. So sometimes what we have to do is take a sabbatical, take a leave, decide in our heart and our mind what's best for us. So here's your traditional 8 of Cups. There's space to come back if you want to. Now the thing that can be a little bit tricky with the 8 of Cups is it leaves open the door and it can leave people hanging. So it's almost like the 8 of Cups can also be the hanged man because you're not really allowed to move forward. Sometimes others aren't either. So what you want to try to do is put an expiration date on how long that sabbatical, that leave, that sort of limbo will be, okay? So with this one, what the artist chose to do was to show that this is probably the ideal time to break a cycle. And so look into your life and think, why am I continuing to connect to this? What would happen if I wasn't putting time and energy into this? If I could look beyond what feels like it's a block here, we have this mountain and some rain. What if I were to just imagine that this served its purpose? This job, this relationship, this habit, this cycle, and I'm done with it. And kind of like in weddings, you'll see people break the glasses, right? You can just break the cycle, start something new, have a nice, fresh, clean break. And that's kind of what I'm getting with this, is that it will help clear the energy for you. So what you have to decide before entering into that new cycle is, do I want this? Am I ready for this? What do I want? And intention and clarity is so important no matter what you're doing. But the Justice card is basically saying nobody can tell you but you. And until you're ready, fully ready to do something, it's not going to stick. There's no adhesive. There's no glue. It's just sort of like you're kind of ambling around. So the homework, for those of you that are watching ahead of time, you got a whole month to get ready. But If you happen to be watching this next month in June, I would say the most important thing for you to do is to think, where is the best area for me to focus and what am I trying to accomplish? If you have time, like those of you that are watching live do right now, really think to yourself, how can I make the biggest splash? What will be the biggest return energetically on my investment of love, of research, of whatever it is that you're doing? And pick that. Pick a place where you can actually make a difference. And then if you felt like you're stuck going in a circle again and again and again, decide now to get out of that circle or out of that cycle, okay? I always like to look at the 3 cards at the very beginning in the center. So we have the Ace, which we talked about, the Ace of Pentacles, and I said it was the 7 that came to me. So this is right after that, the 8 of Cups, which is saying, you know what, I've cleared my mind, but I haven't made peace with completely walking away from this. So we have an opportunity, we have leaving space, walking away, getting a little bit of clarity, and then we have this big expansive energy here, the sun, almost like the supernova that I was talking about. The only thing that you have to do to connect these is to make a decision. So Justice is saying, what brings me balance? What brings me focus? What do I want to do? And then you're connecting that between the idea and the realization of the idea. And then you'll eventually be able to walk away from that. But you have to decide, I am ready. When you're ready, it happens fast. That's manifestation. That's the realization of it. That's an opportunity. You got a bunch of aces that came through here, and that helps too. Okay, you just have to focus. All right, let's look at your deep past card. We have the King of Swords coming through. The King of Swords is upright. We have an owl. Really listen to your wisdom. Use your experience to reign supreme here in this period of time. But King of Swords has to speak up, has to walk the walk and talk the talk. So are you ready to do a little bit of both this month? I hope you are. It is in the deep past, so it shows me that one of the things that many of you have been working on is confidence in your communication. But since this is you as well, this is Gemini, personified as King of Swords, this tells me that you're ready. It's more like convincing the head space. The heart knows, but the head has to catch up to that. So trust that you've done what you've needed to do to earn a seat at the table. Use your voice in a compelling way and to really help inspire other people and ultimately inspire yourself. If you're talking and if you're doing things, if you don't feel that sense of excitement and, again, sort of like connection, the question that I would ask is, why are you doing it? Okay? Because you have a lot to offer and you should be really feeling psyched and excited about what's going on. I would ask also, what are you doing to set things into motion? Are you writing stuff down? Are you talking to someone? Do you have a counselor or even sort of just like someone in your life that can keep you accountable, a friend? This would be a really good time to buddy up with somebody and help each other accomplish your goals. Ace of Pentacles here. In the recent past, I love that we see all the rings of the tree representing not just the work you've done in this lifetime, but in the many lifetimes that constitute your soul. Of all places, I was listening to something on TikTok this morning when I was walking the dog, and they were talking about sort of why we can be triggered as an adult when we see something that, like, again, we experienced in our youth, or, if you listen to a song, watch a movie, or have some sort of an experience, and you're like, why does that as an adult trigger me? And the person had a great sort of like epiphany, which is we are all of the versions of ourselves prior to today. So, if you're 20, 40, 80, you have that many versions of you that have cycled around the sun that, like an onion skin or like a ring around this tree, have created you. And so you might be the 20-year-old, but you're also the 5-year-old or the 7-year-old that went through the bullying, that went through the heartbreak, that went through the parents not being there when you needed them. And those little pieces of us are all here. So in this moment in time, you're being asked to pull the best pieces of you together and embrace what's in front of you. There'll always be the inner saboteur, the fear, the anxiety from the past, but there's also the person that got through each and every experience and created the next ring. So you're not only that person that struggled, but you're the person that survived. And the person that survived and persevered and pushed is sitting here saying, we earned this. Why aren't we doing this? Why am I holding back? Don't hold back. And you're not stuck in the past. This tree is not dead. I mean, we're looking at the inside. I'm pretending that we're just getting an x-ray of it. So let's just imagine that we've got a cross section and we're looking on the inside. It's still going to grow. It's still going to cycle out there. So you're still growing and you're adding to the experience. You're the sum of your parts, but you're not just one of those rings. So don't let any one of those rings hold you back, and try instead to embrace, hey, every single version of me created this. So this moment in time is exciting, and it's an ace of pentacles, opportunity. It's reversed, so there's questioning of value, questioning of time or timing, but I'm telling you, you earned it, okay? You're every version of yourself plus the ones that are vying in the future that, like, come on, let's do this, the possibilities, which is a nice segue into the Two of Wands. Because, time is a construct. And, I have a lot of relatives in spirit. And whenever I connect to them or with them, I can tell that they're just sort of, it's curious once you've transitioned, because this is weird. This is very rigid and stuck on this planet. But we do have the potential to tap into looking into our future, and we start to see that it's more soupy than we think. It's not just this linear line. So you have the ability right now to shift the future. That's why we're showing up here. We're looking at glimmers of the future, but you still have the ability to shift it, to shape it, and to continue to grow, and that's the point. So choose a future path that inspires, that connects you, that makes you really excited, and that's your choice with the Two of Wands here. It's kind of interesting that they chose to almost make this look like chopsticks. So if the Two of Wands were upright, or like what is it, a dowsing rod or whatever, but basically where you can kind of sense something. But to me, it looks like chopsticks. So the Two of Wands is reversed. So one of the things that this is kind of asking you to do is to look within, and get to that point, sample what it is, give it a shot. Sometimes we're afraid to try. So this Two of Wands looks a lot like chopsticks, and it's saying, let's take this opportunity, this idea, and let's taste it. Let's see how it feels. Because I won't know until I really give it a decent effort, okay? So I want you to try and to prioritize the vision or the dream. Don't second guess yourself. High Priestess and Two of Wands reversed tend to be that overthinking or second guessing. No more time for that anymore. You know what you need to do. You know how to do it. The time is now. Pretty simple, right? All right, let's go ahead now and look at what's coming through. It's just good stuff, basically, right? So we have the expansion here. So this is the sort of like the inception. You even see like a little star kind of starting here. We have the release, the decision to release, the focusing on what it is that we want to do, tapping into that inner wisdom, and then boom, things start to take off in a really exciting way. This can either be the supernova where new things happen. It can be the sun coming into existence from that cloud of dust. It can also be you stepping into the spotlight and people seeing you in a way that they never have before. This is, if we just look at it as an aspect of your personality, this is your charisma. This is your ability to inspire. This is all eyes being on you. And there's nothing negative with an upright star in the near future position. Nothing negative with it. It's just about, are you ready? And it's a birthing card. A traditional sun card would have a baby on it. So now is the time, and by now I mean the next 6 to 8 weeks, to step in, to release, to start, to create. It's not a time to hold back, hold on. It's outward expansion. And that is only going to bring more expansion and more opportunity. So the seed needs to grow. The seed needs to become realized, basically. Okay? So I like that. And there's divine guidance on this, or divine intervention here, where we see all the doves here, basically. So pay attention to, I would also say whenever I see birds, they can be messages. So where are the messages leading you? Have you noticed, like sometimes someone will be on the tip of your tongue, and there's 2 or 3 people that bring up a person or an idea or something like that. Where is this sort of like amalgamation leading you? Listen to all the signs and symbols. It's not always going to be the obvious, but it's important. All right. In your ego this month, we have it is the Emperor. Well, it looked like the Emperor card, but it's not. It's the 6 of Cups. The Emperor in this deck is actually another tree too. So the 6 of Cups is important because for some of you, you have such high expectations on partnership that you are possibly going to think it's taking too long to find the right job, the right boyfriend, girlfriend, the right opportunity. It's because you're accepting nothing less than the best. And what we see here, it's a very different version of what I would expect for this. Normally, we would see 2 children on the 6 of Cups. But I'll bring that card up and then we'll talk about this. What's cool about this particular card is that it's showing evenly matched energy. So here's our traditional 6 of Cups. 2 kids, and there is this sense of immediate friendship, immediate recognition, and much like the 4 of Wands, it's like, I've got your back. When you meet this kind of an energy, it just feels like, where have you been? Now, when it's coming through, this is how you're coming through. So what you're basically doing is putting out there, I am that kind of person and I'm ready for nothing less than the best. And so we see just as much above ground as below ground on this one. So sometimes people may only see surface, but what you're saying is I'm much deeper and I want someone that's done this work too. So don't accept anybody that hasn't done the inner work and that's showing up strong, secure, connected, just like what we were seeing there. Okay? So I like that. It's the other child card in tarot. So the 6 of Cups is also, here's the interesting thing. When you birth the new you, when you have this sort of like reimagination of you, then you also will find people that have done the same. Have you ever noticed this? People are either going to go along with the ride or they're going to fall away as you embrace these new sort of versions of you. And so I'm excited to see what happens when you step into the authentic you. I feel like that's when you find the partnership that you might be looking for. So those of you that are seeking love, let's say you're unattached, or looking for a partnership, you've got the love interest that you want, but you're looking for friendship or partnership in business, and you're just really saying, how can I do it? My answer to you would be embody everything that you seek in someone else. So if it's independence, success, self-sufficiency, availability, clarity of mind, clarity of vision, work on all those things within, and then you're going to find someone stable. Like attracts like. So in this 6 of Cups, what we're looking at is the deep inner work that is happening, and you will recognize someone and they will recognize you because there's a depth of character. I'm sure you've seen, this is what we call an old soul. So you might, whenever you sort of look at one of your friend's children, or if there's a young niece or nephew or cousin in your life, sometimes you see someone and you think they seem so mature for their age, right? They have that energy of the 6 of Cups, past lifetimes, deep roots and depth of character. That's the important thing to look at when you're deciding, is this the person that I want to engage time, energy, love, etc. with this month? So it's your litmus test, okay? Are you happy? It's not a complicated question, but it is complicated. Ace of Cups in reverse is basically saying there might be some things that need to give, not because you're giving up, not because you don't want to work hard, but because they've served their place. There's a time and a place for everything. You may also be over-delivering to please others. So the Ace of Cups in reverse is saying make sure that you're making time to receive, to feel that sense of being loved, being fulfilled, etc. Because I like to remind you of this mantra. You are more than enough for yourself, you're more than enough for others, and you are deserving of love, kindness, support. If you're not receiving it, you get that sense of hunger, of lacking, of desire. So if you have the emptiness, it's not the end of the world. That hunger, just like in our body, it kind of reminds us, oh, that's something that I need, that I didn't think about. So when you have the longing, let's use that word instead. When you're longing for something, it's just your soul whispering to you, hey, don't forget about this. That was part of our soul's plan. You're getting off your curriculum. Let's get back onto the course. So don't feel bad if you're longing for something or someone. Figure out, what am I going to do? It always starts within. So I'm very happy that Lord Ganesha came through today to say, go within. I'm happy that the soulmate card is about the roots that you're creating in your life to become more stable. I'm happy that the sun card is not about ego, it's more about expansion. So we're not even looking at the baby, we're just looking at the expansive energy. And we're asking our inner self to just try something new, to sample a potential future and see where it leads. All of these things will help you find the happiness that you're seeking, okay? Yes, love can find you. It's in the environment. The reversal means you need to love yourself, you need to be happy with your path, and you need to know that this person, place, or thing that you're calling in is not just to satisfy or to fill a desire. It's actually a reward for the work that you've done. So again, nothing and no one can complete you. They complement the energy that you're working on. So I see you calling in a complement, a nice complementary energy. When we look in astronomy, not astrology, double and triple star systems exist. So it's very possible that you're pulling in one or two new friends or connections that are going to help complete your star system. All right, let's go ahead and move to hopes, fears, and opportunities. It's really just opportunities here as we're looking at the 10 of Pentacles. Look at how it's radiating out. It's beautiful, but it is also, you could look at this two ways. You can either see the pentacles and all the energy that they're creating, or you can see that this is almost like a light at the end of the tunnel. So some of you are still within the tunnel of the 10 of Pentacles, looking at it from the outside, looking in, or looking down the path and thinking, how do I get that? Well, it all starts with one thing. We have the ace here. So take the one ace at the center, and things start to get attracted to your mass, to your energy. Because if we were to think of how things work, at least in our solar system and in our universe, large mass objects have gravity, and things start to attract to that gravity. So by working on you, by working on what it is that you're creating, it attracts people, places, opportunities, and other things. It's always about you. It always has been inner work about you. And that's what this card is basically saying. What I like about this, I don't care which position this is in. It's always going to be up to me, even though this was a reversal. But what I will say with this, because I believe this card was upside down, with the 10 of Pentacles in reverse, a lot of times our family, our coworkers, and our friends can pressure us down a path that isn't authentic to us. And so the most important thing for you is to stay authentic and focused on what's going on. By the way, sometimes people have written me and said, where's the 10th pentacle? So if you look really close, because we have 3, 6, 9. If you look really close, the 10th pentacle is in the center. So again, the energy is within. You have to go within and ask yourself, is this me? Is this what I want? Is this authentic? And that is the key to everything this month. Is you hold the key. It has to be something you want, something that you desire. And when it is internal, when it is something that you feel, when it's in your heart, then all the expansion that we're looking at comes through, okay? So I'd forgotten about that until I looked at this card. Look deeper, look closer, look around you, and you're gonna find that hidden star. That's also kind of like the lesson of the hermit, right? He always holds the lantern, and in the lantern is the star. So what you seek is closer or already within. It's closer than you think, or it's right inside. All right, as we look at your final card here in this spread, the outcome, it's going to be the Daughter of Wands or the Page of Wands in reverse. And the interesting thing with this is sometimes we are overly critical of what we think others might think of us. This is very much in your head, basically. And sometimes we're not listening. You can spend so much time focusing on what if this happens, or what do they think about this, or how is this going to work? And it can lead to this Alice in Wonderland rabbit hole where you're just spiraling down and down and down and wondering, where do I stop? So I'm going to do you a favor and just say, or help you kind of do a favor and just say, stop overthinking. And don't let other people's comments or criticism get stuck in your headspace too much, because, okay, I'm zooming in the wrong direction. Because what we're looking at here can be peer pressure or expectations that kind of just take over, and we don't want that to take over. Instead of overthinking, get back to that inner focus and decide, what do I want? What feels right? The inner knowing that we see here with Ganesha is our touch point, like time and again this particular month, okay? So let's get some additional clarity here. We're going to go into the expanded forecast, and we're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny, try to understand things a little bit better, try to clarify. All right, so let's begin with your health card. For health, we have peace and harmony. We have Archangel Raguel, different name. Thank you for surrounding my life in harmonious light. So always go toward the affirmative, positive, or proactive sort of possibilities, and that's what I'm seeing. And then for many of you, choosing the path of peace, it's not always the easiest, is it? Sometimes we just want to argue. Sometimes we just want to say what's on our mind. Take a half step and think, when you get into that moment, is this going to make my life more complicated? Is it worth it? Is it worth talking to this person? What can I do to enter into this with peaceful intentions and say, this is challenging. I know you have a lot on your plate, but I think we have a common goal here, etc. If they don't want to work with you, find another place to kind of go, but try to enter in with peaceful thoughts and peaceful intentions. And this has to do with conflict resolution more than anything. Walk the path of life, of light rather, and be harmonious, be peaceful, be sort of like that balanced energy. Sometimes though, to do the right thing may mean to ruffle a feather or two. So be as peaceful as you can, but if someone is legitimately doing something that's wrong or irrational, don't be afraid to speak out. You have to do what's going to also create harmony in your life. And sometimes that is, I quit, or we need to break up, or I'm going to leave. Whatever it is, a separation, a declaration, and it doesn't have to be cruel. It's just going to be a few words. When you liberate yourself, and that is what justice is liberty, it just gives you this sense of absolute freedom. But you can only do that when you believe it. So we have justice on her side here as we're looking at this, which is a consideration card and a position. So what you really want to think is like, do I believe in what I'm about to say or do? And if I do, then it's going to be easy. Like, I'm looking for a new apartment. I can't wait to give notice for this place. It'll be easy because I've made my decision. So once I've made the decision, it's easy to look for a new place, and I won't be regretting it because there's too much noise and they're not considerate. Easy peasy. Same thing when I was quitting my corporate job. There was too much stress. There was no growth potential. There was just a lot of things that were happening where I thought, it is time. And it's really lovely when you want to go away from something to do that. It's also really lovely when you want something to state that that's your intention. Like if you want to marry someone, if you want to buy a house, if you want to create a company, whatever it is, birthing or releasing. When you want it or don't want it and you know, then saying it is powerful. It's like, yes, right? So I want you to get to that yes moment, and that will create the harmony that you're seeking, right? All right. So let's focus now on some additional messages here that are coming through with respect to just general health. I always like to kind of preface this by saying, I'm helping you with energy. If there's anything going on in your mind or body, work with an expert. But how we feel and how we work with our energy absolutely has an effect on our body. So hopefully I can help you in that area. Okay, so let's take a look here and see what's going on here. So I think the most important thing is, do you or don't you want it? Whatever that is, a job, a house, a relationship, etc. There is this sort of, I talked yesterday about the word liminal, like this sort of magical space between an end and a beginning. You're kind of there, but it really does kind of sit on, what do you want? That's what the universe is asking, because we have expansion here, opportunity here, even more opportunity here. By the way, in the area of relationships, that's a serious relationship. But what's important here is, what do you want? And only you can decide. And that's the most important thing, is to set an intention, because that's going to make you happier as you kind of navigate through this month ahead. Emotional health and mental health it's actually the main focus that I see here. So whether you're unhappy, whether you're stressed out, whether you're tired, and all of these things are kind of having an effect on your overall health, that's what you want to focus on. We do see a lot of peer pressure, because the Six of Cups can be peers and the Ten of Pentacles can be peers. So there's a lot of peer energy that's pulling at you. So stand your ground, be strong, do what's right for you. And I think that's the most important thing. It's actually pretty good health-wise this month. Nothing here that's kind of like getting me distracted. The only thing that I would say with this is, if you've had bad luck with something before, or difficulties, let's use that. There's no good or bad. If you've had difficulties with something, this is your chance to truly make a change, but it has to come from here, saying like, I want this or I don't want this. Once you have that clarity and that decisive energy, then you've truly embarked on a new path. Okay? All right. Let's go ahead and move on to your wealth card. And in wealth, we have the heart of source, an all-encompassing love, unconditional acceptance, serenity. Looks almost like the ace. It looks another bright star here. So wealth, heart of source connection. That's what we're looking at here. Love what you're doing, accept yourself and accept your path, and find peace on that. Age helps with this. The older you get, the less you need or want to please other people. And I was reading something with, I can't think of her name. It was Jane Fonda or something, like, she was talking about turning 60. I think she's now 70 or 80. I think maybe 75. As you get into different areas of your life, you start to care less. And so she was saying, like, I'm in the third or fourth act of my life. Also, when you lose people in your life, I felt that sense of liberation, because many of you know I lost my mom. My dad's already passed. I don't have any siblings. I don't have any relatives. So you kind of enter into this place where it's like, all right, what have I got to lose? I'm on this path on my own right now, and it's invigorating and exciting. And when you kind of have these moments, it can be graduation, it can be a wedding, it can be a funeral, it can be just this epiphany that I don't want this or I want this. It's a big sort of common theme for you this month. It opens up so many doors, because we don't know how much time we have. We don't know how much or how little. So why don't we just spend every day as if it were going to end in a soul review? So imagine at the end of this evening, you were then entering into the spirit realm, and you worked with your guides, you worked with your higher self, and you had to give yourself a grade. How do you think you're doing? Take the areas where you feel like you have a lot of opportunity, and put those as your goals. So we don't want you to have any regrets. Take a regret and make it a goal. Anything where you have fear of missing out, put that towards the top. What are the things that really you want to make sure that you do before you have the soul review? That should be your end of day meditation. How did I do today? Did I make a difference? Did I make some progress? Do I feel good about it? What do I want to do? What do I want to do tomorrow instead? Don't beat yourself up. Just set some goals for the next day. Intention is going to be really important, because the more present, the more intent that you have in your life, the more the doors start to open, the more quickly they do. Okay? So believe in yourself, trust in that, and don't hold yourself back to please all these lovely people, friends and family. Do what's right. Do what is really in your heart space. And that's what's going to be key. Let's specifically look at it for those of you that are working. And I'm going to look at working, job seeking, and then just like general messages for wealth. If you're working, some of you are ready to quit, or some of you are stuck in a cycle. Education could be part of the key of getting out, but for some of you, you might need to call more attention to yourself because you've been doing a lot behind the scenes, but this is about like expansion and engaging. So, we're kind of at the mid-year point. It feels like it's an appropriate time to talk to supervisors and whoever the powers may be that can help you with this and state what you want. It doesn't have to be an ultimatum because this is muted, it's crossing, it's sideways. So it's saying, I need this for growth, this is what I'm seeking. Give them some time to see if they're going to follow through on it. The good news for you is it feels like many of you have done the work. The people around you see you as a very solid and good investment. The company at which you work also sees that as well. So I'm feeling good. For those that are working, it feels like you have a lot to offer, but you have to state the intention because they're not going to try to, it's business at the end of the day. So sometimes companies are not thinking in the long run about sort of like retention. They're just thinking about budgets and they don't necessarily want to give raises because that costs money. But when they start to look at how much you're worth it, it's not going to be a matter of that. It's like they can't afford to lose you. It's not about they can't afford this next pay scale. So give them a chance to show that they're invested in you. And I think you have a decent shot. If I was just pulling cards for a potential outcome, this being in your opportunities, this being in the near future, looks good. A little bit of things that you might have to kind of like give and take on, but ultimately it's a good spread for you. They need to know where you're at. You need to know where you're at. Once you've stated it, put it into action and then follow through on your part and give them a shot. But it should happen within 1 year. And if it doesn't, it's time to move on to something else, okay? If you're looking for new work, let's say you've already gone through this and people haven't proven what they're looking for, what you're looking for. Honestly, it could happen very quickly with an ace here, a sun here, and a 10 of pentacles here, fast. It comes from someone you know, or it comes from a face-to-face. So if there's a job fair or an opportunity to somehow personally connect, it's the charisma and it's the connection that you have, even more so than just the base skills. Someone's going to vibe off your energy. So find a way to try to have that, whether it's through Zoom or through a face-to-face. That's what it needs to be. And it's fast. So I think you have a lot of opportunities here. 2 aces, a sun, a 10 of pentacles, a 2 of wands, you're manifesting. So I think it's going to happen pretty quickly for those of you that are looking, but you have to sort of like push towards that path and be optimistic with that. If you're not focused on this, let's say you're retired, out of work, or just you don't care so much about finances or career, you have a chance now to make a turn in your life towards something different. The 2 of wands is, to me, also, again, like you're seeking out that path. I'm looking at the rods that you kind of use to find things. So it's sort of like, what is my heart telling me that I want to do? So for many of you, you get to kind of like, again, it's a reinvention here because I'm looking at this almost as a supernova. So let's say you are retired, whether it's early retirement or traditional age, you have a chance now to give back to the community because the 10 of Pentacles can definitely be a card for giving back. So I like that. You also have a chance to heal. Maybe there's some sort of a work that you want to do, whether it's counseling, writing something, because we have the King of Swords, lest we forget, writing or creating a curriculum and saying, this is what I learned, this is what I want to pass on. It's a legacy, basically, that we see here, okay? All right, that pretty much sums everything up with respect to work. The only thing that besides that, I mean, I'm really happy with possibilities here. It's all leading in the right direction. I don't see any cards of lack. I just see a cycle that needs to be broken or a decision that needs to be made that opens everything up. All right, so we looked at health, we looked at wealth. Let's take a look at love and relationships. Forgiveness and understanding. It is always the hardest, isn't it, to forgive. It's often very difficult to understand someone's motives, especially if they're just acting irrationally. So this month, forgive what you can, understand if you can as well, but also it really all goes back to the inner stuff. So Ganesha was talking about going within. We have the hidden pentacle inside that 9th pentacle. So this is really starting with yourself. So if you can't forgive the other person, if you don't understand what's going on, forgive yourself sometimes just for allowing or not seeing or not understanding why this happened. So think to yourself, I forgive myself for taking so much time, for not taking enough time, for not listening, for listening too much, whatever it is, forgive yourself. Beating yourself up is not going to solve it. It isn't going to help you. Decide what it is that you want to do because of what you went through. That's all you can control, is right here and tomorrow. So let's start moving in that energy and start to be kinder to yourself, at least. Let's take a look now at the different levels of relationships that I like to. Those in a relationship first, then we'll look at seeking, then we'll look at single and happy. So if you're in a relationship, we do have decision making that has to happen here. This is literally stay or go. Justice alone could tell me that, but this cycle card, broken or reversed and broken, is saying there's something that needs to change, or perhaps you have to step away. The way that I look at partnerships is you can look at it solely as love, or it could be the most important friend or partner in your life. So it could be work or friendship as well. Something needs to shift. For many of you, you need growth. You also might need to do something for you, because when I look at the past, you've done a lot of helping, a lot of leading, a lot of listening. So it's your turn now to grow. And really, again, what's happening is if that person is as invested as you are in this path, it's going to be fine. But that's basically the litmus test. Do they love you enough to support this shift, this growth, this change? And I hope they do. And I hope you do too, because you might be on that other end of the spectrum where you're watching someone else grow. One of the two of you are definitely on a growth path. There still is a lot of love, a lot to love, a lot of work you've done together. I think the biggest thing here is trying to meet halfway, because both of these cards there's a little bit of disbelief, even Justice, a little bit of disbelief because she's not upright, or they're not upright. So I would say the most important thing is to hear one another out, and to really try to just kind of like imagine what they're going through, or try to get them to kind of put themselves in your shoes. That is the key to success, and probably for many of you, the biggest challenge that's going to happen, because it's so hard sometimes to get somebody to kind of look at it from your perspective, right? It's so much easier to just focus on what's important to you, okay? All right, so that's relationships. Existing, I should say. One last thing, when it comes to the Justice card, I think it's more important for you to state what you want than to give an ultimatum. You can ask what someone else wants, but don't give an ultimatum sort of thing. I think that's not going to be effective. That's what my guides were saying before I moved on to the next piece. So what you could do instead is, you can still push out what you want. So you could say, this is what I need to do. This is what's important to me. I care about us. Are we on the same page? You don't have to say, or I'm going to leave. They can kind of infer that there's a big decision. So don't add the ultimatum. State intent and ask what theirs is. Give them space. Don't put them in the hot seat like that. And I think that's going to help both of you stay in a positive space. And then they won't feel pressured. And then you'll know that it wasn't because of the pressure. It was actually because they wanted to do it. If you're single and looking, what do you want? The first two cards here, like some stuff in the past wasn't exactly what you wanted. This is saying, how do I create the balance in my life to do better? And also, what is it that I'm looking for again? And this is also about clarity of what you're looking for. Seven of Cups reversed, Two of Wands. This can sometimes not trusting what you want. Seven of Cups can be not knowing what you want. So I think you just need to trust here. And interestingly enough, this new person that you bring into your life could be very playful, could be very young. Maturity is a interesting piece. I neglected to talk about that in existing relationships. I'll hit on that in just a second. But with the Sun card, they could be very young at heart. Maybe they're older, but they have a youthful energy. Maybe they're very playful, or maybe they're just very sort of like outgoing. So that's interesting. I like that. There could also be a child attached to this person. So maybe their former relationship and divorced and they have a child. Marriage or family seems to be vital to both of you here, because we have this, particularly if there's a kid or there's a desire for a kid. I think the most important thing, though, for both of you is just make sure you get along. The friendship, the camaraderie has to start there. So whether you want to bring a child in or there's already a child or you're just playful, the playful energy and the sort of connection is the most important thing. I definitely think that this is a great month for you to mix and mingle and meet. Things could progress and get a lot serious, more serious than you might imagine and quicker than you might imagine. So be prepared for that. One footnote for those that are already in a relationship, matters of children and family definitely play a big role. So any pressure that's happening could also stem from the desire of your family for you to start a family. It could be your children or, again, your family that are just kind of tugging you a little bit. So dealing with third or fourth or fifth parties getting into your energy is going to be really important. And I think that's across the board. So not just peer pressure, but familial energy coming through as well. If you're single and happy this month, the good news for you is I see for some of you a new job. For some of you, the ability to put your time and energy into something really expansive with a great return on the energetic investment. And you're going to meet some great folks along the way. So I see new friendships and partnerships coming through no matter what. But like looking at this just professionally, yes, it's all good. The only thing here is lack of trust, of vision, and maybe a little bit of don't do something if it doesn't feel right. This also extends to looking for love. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. Don't say yes. So no vicarious occasions. You're not living for someone else. You're living for you. You're living with someone, some of you, and together you're kind of creating a narrative, but you're not sacrificing your happiness for someone else. You're blending, you're working, you're cooperating. It's give and take. Okay. The final card in this spread, which is Destiny, is the wolf. I love wolves. One of my spirit animals is a wolf, gray wolf, actually. And so, interesting thing, I actually named a character in my novel after the gray wolf that I have as in a spirit guide, but kind of different energy in the novel than my guide. So mine is just a wolf that's here to protect me. I love dogs. As we look at Apollo in the background, just gently sleeping. He looks so sweet, doesn't he? Can you see him? Just chilling out back there saying, hey, Dad, it's all good. I'm a big lover of animals, particularly dogs and wolves and canines. Here's what I like about the wolf. Actually, they're a pack animal. We think of the lone wolf, but for many of you, finding your group is going to be important, finding your tribe, finding your pack. So there's that. There's the loyalty of a chosen family or a pack, that pack mentality. But also getting out of that to sometimes decide what you want is going to be key. So being part of something, but also keeping your personality, keeping yourself intact, so important. So make sure that you're making time for both, the people that you love and then yourself, okay? Instinct is the number one thing that would come through with this particular totem. You know it before you see it. You smell it before you see it. You feel it before it's here. So your instinct, your base intuition is coming through loud and clear this month. I was shown in spirit the sort of whispering energy of the wind going through the trees. The wolf is giving me the same thing, which is you're perking your ears up and you know something's about to happen. So listen to that. It's going to help you prepare for challenges and also prepare for rewards. We're going to move now to the big idea. If we were to take all of this and put it together in one card, what would it be? Let's take a look. All right, so we have the Five of Wands. This is where I start to get picky on this deck because you can the wands and swords start to look close. But Five of Wands. This is actually a beautifully drawn Five of Wands because we see the energy surrounding the wands as pushing against one another. A lot of times with the Five of Wands, we see people kind of like in that competitive energy, rather than lifting each other up or going in the same direction. Aphrodite has a great card where they're all pushing together and you can see the path in front of them. With this one, we see all of these different sort of like friction energies that are pushing against. So what you need to do is to find a way to pick up all of these wands and get Again, order to the chaos. It was in my channeled messages. This is missing a conductor. Imagine that we have, you know, an orchestra with everybody tuning up and playing on their own. You've got to have the conductor. You have to have somebody up there to call the order. And that could be you, that could be someone that you choose or champion, but this is the time to sort of like find a way to organize. Organize your resources, your intentions, and maybe your sort of like the people that you're working with. So get organized. And I always like to see this as an opportunity to collaborate, not to compete. Okay? Let's move now to blessings and blocks. Things to embrace, things that you might need to be aware of in order to avoid being distracted. Blessing, Ace of Wands. Block, the Chariot reverse, which we just kind of talked about. All right. People ask, why does Apollo have two beds? He actually has a third one in the other room. Because he likes choices, because he's a cute little puppy that he gets bored. So, and I have a smaller place, so he needs little spaces. Plus, it's fun to see him go from bed to bed. All right, so let's focus here. Your blessing this month. You've got a good idea. Stick with it. Trust it. Know yourself. It's really important for you to take something this month and develop it. I don't care what it is. One thing. Focus on one thing where you feel like I can make a difference here. It could be for someone else. It can be for yourself. But honor the intention rather than having a list of to-do things like a grocery list. I would rather you put one item on the list and cross it out. Don't put 5 and then get disappointed. Put 1, maybe 2. Only put things that you can do, but the ace is 1. What's the one thing that you want to see happen? That's where your energy goes this month. Everything else goes on the lower list. So you have one start item that's circled and underlined and highlighted. That's what I want you to focus on. It's a good idea. You're going to be able to accomplish it. You just have to prioritize it. Brainstorming, teamwork, creativity, Ace of Wands provides for all of those. So it's also, though, the initial wand that is the conductor, okay? Block. Nobody's in the lead. And I actually kind of like this Chariot card because it's almost as if we saw like a wild stallion break free from the chariot, because there is no chariot, there is no other horse, it's just the horse. And we see the sun behind it. So one thing that comes through with this is it's a very emperor-infused chariot, or because the emperor to me is also a leader. Usually I see chariot as middle management. Why? Because it takes two horses to pull the chariot, and the person that's kind of pulling the reins has to keep both of those in order. They're managing a lot of people, or a lot of animals, or a lot of resources. So it's in the middle, whereas an emperor just sits on the throne, or a conductor just conducts. So with this chariot, we're seeing you step out of a role where you're stuck in the middle of this sort of chaos, and you're instead saying, you know what? Not only can I handle this, but I think I have a bigger voice and a bigger vision. But some of you might stay in that rut or in that sort of middle zone, and this is kind of like asking you to move to the next level. So you're in a middle energetic zone. So what is it going to take to give you the permission, the inspiration, the wherewithal to kind of say, I'm going to let go of this and I'm just going to go my own way, right? So I feel like that's the desire here. But there's a lack of organization or a lack of leadership in one part of your life. Could be in the environment. Could be just something that you need to take accountability for. Whenever you decide to take the reins on that, things will start to shift. And then you may just decide, you know what, I could just do this on my own too, and that's fine too. So maybe there's a 2-phase process: getting things organized, finding a leader or someone that you can delegate something to, and then taking your attention and energy and focusing it somewhere else. That's kind of what I'm picking up on with that. All right, let's go ahead now and do something more interactive. I'm going to look at all of the cards in front of me and pick a few things that you can vote on, and then I'll do a reader's choice as well. So I'll just let you look at what I'm looking at, and let's vote together. All right, so decision time here with the Justice card. So I'm just going to put making a decision as option number 1. And then we have a lot of peer and family pressure. So I'm going to look at group pressure, and that can be peer or family. And then the other, I'm going to look at instinct so that'll be something I look at. The other thing here is just leadership opportunities or messages. Okay, so those are the things for you to vote on. Let me just title it so you know what you're voting on. Here's your viewer's choice poll. While you're voting on that, I want to look at trusting your instinct and trusting your vision, because those cards are calling to me. So let's take a look at 2 of Wands and the Wolf. How do you know it's the right thing? Again, how do you trust your vision here? All right, so here we have the 6 of Pentacles, one of my favorite cards because it does give you more than enough. So with this in the reverse state, many of you are just having a hard time saying yes and saying no. But it should be easy because we're looking at how do I know? Reminds me of that old Whitney Houston song. How will I know? Well, you'll know because one step further and it will feel overwhelming on something. So if you have to decide, should I say no to this? The 6 of Pentacles is very much aware of resource limitations. The 6 of Pentacles also knows when things start to feel better or when you start to see a difference. So you should be able to feel it within. It's going to be like one more step and my back will break, or wow, that was a breath of fresh air. I want more of that. So it's either less of this or more of this, and it will feel right. Now I've got her song in my head, and I think one of the lines is, you've got to trust the feeling. So there was a little bit of 6 of Pentacles in How Will I Know? So you do have to trust how your heart feels when you're going through it, okay? If it feels like it's lifting you up, it's a yes. If it feels like it's pushing you down or making you tired, it's a no exclamation point. You got to trust the feeling. I'm going to have to listen to that song after this. I haven't heard it for a long time. It's like exuberant too. So anyway, there you go. Let's take a look and see what you chose for me. Making a decision. Okay. So making a decision. How can we help you with the Justice card? I gave you a little key of what it would be with the 6 of Pentacles. Interesting thing with the 6 of Pentacles, and this is one last thing that you probably don't want to hear, but you need to hear. You'll have everything you need, but not everything you want. But you have everything you need to eventually get what you want, just not everything you want right now. So what you want to make, one last note on this, make decisions that are going to bring about more resources, more time, more energy. It's about the slow and steady sort of race there. You just can't have it all right here, right now. All right, so making a decision. Some of you may have a really difficult one. This may be a 2 of Swords where there's no clear sort of like choice. Some of you might have a big sacrifice and you want to know, is that sacrifice worth it? Some of you are just like, I don't know what to do. So let's see what the cards say. I'm trying to think of worst case scenarios. Okay, so we have the Page of Cups coming through on this one. The Page of Cups is in reverse, however. And we're looking at the reflection because of the reversal of this. So, some of you are, I would say the focus is in the wrong direction. There could be a backward gaze on things that didn't happen, timelines that fell short of expectations. Even the sort of box that we create for ourselves where we think, I should be this by this date because this person is doing it and I'm not. So projections and reflections, we talked yesterday in the Taurus reading about like holograms, and it's about projections, but they're not real. All of these arbitrary milestones that you've set up for yourself, they're meant to move and shift. So all that matters when you're making your decision, we're back to the heart, but is Are you happy? I have to keep asking some of you, are you satisfied with this? Also, this is one of the best cards for creative downloads. I'll take any of the court cards, but pages are really receptive. There's a time sometimes where I prefer to have the page because they're very good at receiving and interpreting messages. So some of you may be asking the universe, is it okay for me to go down this path of being creative? Maybe you want to, be an interior decorator, style hair, be an artist, be a writer, be a musician. Or maybe you want to do something creative in your field. So instead of just, taking your financial degree and, being an accountant, you're deciding like, well, what if I helped people invest in a different way? Something creative, something unusual. That's the answer here. It has to have flair. Look at the rainbow. Has to be creative. And it has to be something coming from the heart. So the more unusual, the better. The less sort of like in the box, the better. And the less focused on being so rigid, the better. So make a decision that brings happiness, fosters creativity, and is focused on where you want to be, not where you're not. Because I think some of you might be focusing on where you're not. Okay? But I will say this, you can repackage your skills in a very creative or unusual way. You don't have to do the same old, okay? I've said this before, like, just most of you that are here are old school people, but for anyone that happens to watch it on replay, my degrees are not how I thought they would work out, but they actually perfectly match this. So I have a journalism degree and an English minor, and then I have a film degree as well. So, but it all comes together, right? Because I'm doing digital storytelling, basically. I'm putting together the cards and I'm weaving a story in real time to help you out and kind of help you see what's coming through. And I'm asking questions all the way through and I'm answering questions. So the role of journalist is still here, and the storytelling or presentation and the production is still here. I'm just not doing it where I thought I would be doing it. So, but I'm doing it exactly how I want to be doing it, so it's fine. So repackage your skills. Look at it at a different angle. Be creative about it. I don't need to do something in a company that has a name, that has a job, that has a title, because people like that. Create something. Be creative. That's how you make the decision. There should be more autonomy, more creative energy, etc. Okay. Let's move on to something new. We're going to look at sun, rising, and moon messages, something that I added, and by popular demand, people want me to keep it. So we'll pull the 3 cards first, and then I'll break down sun, rising, and moon messages. Just in case there's an FAQ and you're wondering, like, well, what can I use this video for? You can use it for these and more. So if you happen to know like your Venus as well, then you can watch this for Venus. It's just going to help fine-tune these 3 most viewed parts of your chart. All right, so let's pull the cards and we'll break down each one of those particular aspects here just in just a moment. Sun. We got 2 for rising, and I will observe that. So rising and moon. Pretty good cards so far. So let's begin with sun sign messages. So this is sort of like the default for what's going on here. And this is what I thought I saw at the beginning, but I just want to count 5, 6, 7. Indeed, it's 7 of cups. So we got both of them today, which is good. So smack dab at the center today, you actually have the 8 of cups, and it's the broken glass, which is making and breaking cycles. So for my sun sign, sun signs out there, you also got the 7 of cups, which is decision time. What is it that you're looking for? What is it that you want? And for some of you, you have to spend the first part of this month or the area leading up to it, if you're watching here a couple weeks before, exploring the opportunities. So give yourself some time. Give yourself a week or 2 to kind of look and do the research. Until you have entertained the possibilities, you may always think, well, what if I have done this? Or what if I have done this? So what I'd like you to do is, it's kind of like when you're looking for a college, or in my case, I'm looking for a place to live. You have to go out and do the legwork, go on campus, do an open house, talk to somebody, talk to the people that live there, the residents, the other people that are renting or buying or whatever. Do that part and decide, I need to explore all these different things. I think I want this. There's that one cup at the center, but I need to explore these other options. So I think that's the most important message for sun signs. Give yourself an opportunity to brainstorm, research, and eventually give yourself a deadline on when enough is enough. But at least give yourself a couple of weeks to canvas the options, and that will help you. You're not stuck. This is literally a card of limitless possibilities. It is the nebula that I was seeing with Orion. It's messy sometimes. So the 7 of Cups, when we get it, we want it to be reversed because we're going to eventually have to focus on something and empty out some of that chaos. So put all the ideas, do all the research, and then start to find common threads. So when you're looking for like a college, there might be programs that you need. When you're looking for a house or apartment, there's amenities. When you're dating, there's certain things that are like a deal killer, like maybe you want a family and maybe you don't. Whatever it is, get those sort of like filters in place to help you limit the scope. But you have to get the kind of like universe of options first and then kind of go down into that inverted triangle, okay? But you got to get all the options first, and that's really what's coming through, okay? There will be something that really calls to you, so don't worry. Just allow yourself to explore. Rising. So sun is like the default. That's what your personality, that's kind of like who you are. Rising is what you want people to perceive you as. So a lot of times this shows up in our work and professional spheres. For those of you that are actors, politicians, public speakers, doing anything for the public, you actually very much exist within your rising or ascendant because you're very much in touch with that. I would say actors are more in touch with their rising and ascendant than they are with sun or moon. So in business and in public affairs and in sort of like what we want people to see, that's what we're looking at here. So if you happen to have rising or ascendant in Gemini, here's your message. You got 2, which is a very Gemini thing. We need options right here. Okay, so we have a hidden card underneath. We're going to start with the obvious card. So we have the Queen of Pentacles as your main message. So this is saying, you've got this. This is a good month for you, actually. She was reversed, and it is sort of like we have the fawn and the doe. And so we have this like inner child that's being protected, or for some of you, you might be protecting someone in your life. But I think it's more symbolic of the inner child. So it's sort of like, I want to go out there. I want to try this. What will people think if I do this? So this is the single most important thing. I want you to focus on loving, trusting, and embracing whatever it is that you're birthing or sharing or showing. And if people have criticism, if they have feedback, you can always choose to accept that. But if you are not ready to do it yet, get to that place emotionally so that you're ready to just sort of like let it fall down like rain off your back, right? Otherwise, it's going to feel too personal. So I see value in what it is that you want to share or do or be. You need to see the value too. This is about finishing what you've started, investing in yourself, and not holding on to something so long that you miss the main opportunity this month, which is birthing, because we have 2 baby cards coming through, okay? And this is basically the mother card. So that's part 1. And the other thing that's coming through here is the reason that you might have this hesitation is from the past. We have the 5 of Pentacles, which this is a very unusual illustration for the 5 of Pentacles. But it is about overcoming something in the past where maybe mom, dad, teacher, friend said something, did something, and it kind of chipped away. Sometimes we're also very critical of ourselves. So healing the inner child is also the common message with this, because this is the inner child and this is the eternal mother. And we have that divine feminine energy that can heal ourselves. And that's really what this is saying. When you love, accept, and heal yourself, everybody is more interested in whatever it is you have to offer. So I see success for the taking and for the making here, because we got the 10 of Pentacles too. But there's a little bit of self-confidence that needs to be worked on first. And there's a little bit of trust, and maybe you just have to finish what you've started. Once that's done, you know, the stars are the limit here. The sky's the limit. Okay? Now let's move on to our moon signs out there. And the moon sign is the most complicated for me to look at because a lot of times it shows desires. It shows the part of ourselves that we're afraid to show. Like I like to remind you, sometimes it shows up when you least expect it. So when you understand the inner desire, the inner you, then it's kind of like this bright core of the Ace of Pentacles. Everything's going to be okay because now you know your nucleus. So let's just see what the real you wants to kind of show. It's like the best card we've pulled so far. We've got the World card here, which is expansion. So if I get the Star or the World, and it's in this sort of like position here, there's nothing but good here. So it's about showing who you are, sharing what you want to be with other people. There's no more fear here. So I hope that you're able to fully embrace yourself because others are ready to. I just see expansion here. Looking at it from like, if you're just looking at the reading as a whole, one thing that I'll say is a big change is on the horizon for Gemini Moon. This could be a new job, a new career, or just this epiphany that you need to take a new path in life. Growth, expansion, beginnings. That's how I would sum that one up for you, okay? So beautiful messages for Sun, Rising, Moon. If we're just going to look at these together for a second, I would say overarching, for some of you that have all the different placements, if there's a triple Gemini out there, you have to give yourself time to decide what it is that you want. Put a little bit of a deadline on that, but not to the point that causes pressure. Heal the inner child, finish what you've started, and then go for it. I mean, it still works for Gemini. We can look at all three of those as just past, present, future as well. But that's kind of what I'm getting here, and it looks like a great spread and a great opportunity for your sign, okay? So just a quick revisitation of what we've done. We've gone through all of this stuff here, and we're going to now go into arguably one of the most powerful pieces, which is going to be a brief meditation, and then you get to ask me something through a silent intention, through a silent question. Before we get there, since I've been doing a lot of talking and I don't have a moderator here, just a reminder to hit that subscribe button if you're brand new or if you'd like to join into chat. It's free. It helps. And I need it to kind of have the channel continue to grow. So please do that. Hit the like once. That also helps YouTube serve this up to other people. If you happen to be watching it here on YouTube, also share it. There's a share button here. All of those interactions help basically YouTube see this as a valuable video. As you know, my time had to shift this month because there's construction and I'm looking for a new place. So follow me on social media to make sure that you don't miss out in case I do any schedule changes. You can also opt into that bell as well. Thank you in advance to the folks that have already given back. I'll make sure here in just a couple moments to say thank you after we finish the meditation. And if you need any schedule updates, you can go straight to my website. All right, let's take a moment here and get ready for the meditation. I'm going to give you a chance to vote on the instrument, and then we're going to go into that star factory, the nebula, and really kind of have fun with it. And I'll show an image of it one more time here. So crystal pyramid is option number 1. And glass singing bowl is option number 2 for what we're going to be doing here for the meditation. So which instrument? And let me just clear this out. And there we go. All right. So you guys can vote on that while I'm getting everything set up. Let me give you one more quick view of the star factory that I had. Let me see if I can grab it one more time. So we'll go back to M42, Orion Nebula, and I'll show you this just one more time. Okay, so let me do a picture-in-picture share here. All right, so here is the nebula. I'm just doing a quick Wikipedia search, and this beautiful thing that we see here is what we're going to be imagining ourselves in. Okay, that star factory where all those new life and new planets exist. Okay, so close your eyes for a moment and imagine that you are here on this planet. Maybe you're sitting in front of the pyramids at Giza, and you're looking at Orion's belt above you, and you're going to be able to connect through the pyramids to Orion, basically, to the constellation. And then you can imagine that beautiful nebula that I just showed you, that you're going to be able to transport through a starlight, star beam, to that nebula. So you're planted here on this planet, hands and feet on the ground, cross-legged, but you're looking up at the stars. And as you do that, through your third eye, you're able to travel to that nebula. So with that being said, let's just have fun in that space of creation. Looking around you, you see all of these prismatic colors. Every color of the rainbow, even other things that we couldn't even see with our human eye. There's just basically like a spectrum or a kaleidoscope or a prism. Use whatever word you want, but there's like all of these colors around you. You also see a myriad of light, all these new stars bursting into creation, almost as if it's some sort of a celebration and you're seeing fireworks in the sky. You are now a part of this dance of creation, and you start to feel the energy within your body light up. And just like these newfound stars or newborn stars, you can now pull at some of the material in this star factory, in this nebula. And it's almost as if you are painting, or a potter or a sculptor. You can create. So imagine now that you are fashioning a new version of yourself, that you're going to be able to leave this meditation, walking into this planet, into this life with this new energy. Whatever you want to see changed or grown or attracted in your life, imagine that within this meditation, within this star factory, within this prismatic nebula, that you can bring it in. So I'm going to lead you in a meditation here. All you have to do is relax, and I'm going to play the crystal pyramid as we do this. And then afterwards, I'll come back and I'll answer your final question. Okay, so enjoy this meditation. And we'll bring Apollo up at the end, of course, too. Give yourself a moment. Gather your thoughts, gather your energy. Look back at Earth. See the three pyramids calling to you, almost like Orion's belt in reverse. See yourself back on this planet and allow yourself to travel through a beam of light into your third eye, bringing with you the knowledge, the strength, and the vision that you were able to gather in that beautiful nebula, that star factory. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. And now think about the question that you have for me, whatever it is that we haven't had a chance to answer today, and I will gladly pull a final card to answer that question. And then we'll say hi to Apollo, and then we'll do the gratitude. He just came back. He's like, I needed a break for a second. Hey, buddy. All right, so focus on the question, and we'll see what's coming through. Oh, what a beautiful card for you. So we have the 10 of Cups. This one shows how you are actually a part of something bigger. So sometimes we see family, friends, the public, or acceptance as something that we need to earn. The truth of the matter is you're also pulling people into your life. It's give and it's take. It's give and it's take. This is a yes. The Ten of Cups is a happy final card here for us to get. And it's a nice ending to today's reading. But as with a lot of this, there's a lot of pure energy that came through. We got Six of Cups, we got Ten of Pentacles, and we've got the Ten of Cups. Pretty much every potential card that I can get to show people, except maybe the Lovers, maybe the Two of Cups, maybe the Four of Wands. But we got most of the people cards that I would want to see. They're all elevated. Six of Cups, Ten of Pentacles, and Ten of Cups. And if you get the Ten of Pentacles and the Ten of Cups, that's amazing. So yes, this is going to be a good month for you. The power for you, for those of you that have this final question, is in your connection to the people around you. Chosen family, actual family. This could be a month where you're getting more attention, more popularity, more opportunity. Just make sure that you don't get lost in all of this. That's a lot of people tapping into you. So this is basically making sure that you're okay in this. Don't get lost in the shuffle. You're still a priority. And the one thing that's kind of lacking from today's energy is more leadership. I did get the King of Swords, but the Sun kind of, but like the Sun's more of a child card. So I wish I had like Emperor, Empress, Hierophant, some more power cards here. So I would say for you, really make sure that you are not getting lost in that. But ultimately, this bodes well for love. It bodes well for, again, sort of attracting opportunities and people and things of that nature. I like it. It's upright. I really can't say anything bad about it. We do see the rainbow here. And so what I was talking about earlier with the Moon card, these two kind of go hand in hand. So the more you are authentically yourself, the more people love that authenticity. I think we're tired of the same old, right? So be yourself, be a little bit vulnerable, put yourself out there, not to the point that you're like going to fall apart or anything. Just kind of go out on a limb, because isn't it nice when other people do that to you and say something like, again, if you're asked out on a date, or if you're given praise for something that you've done, or if somebody just wants to hang out, it's nice to know that someone likes or wants your time and energy. So feel free to do that for other people in your life. And if someone is coming to you and giving you that gift of appreciation, just accept it. You've earned it. Okay? Absolutely. Beautiful messages, right? Let's pull up Sleeping Beauty for a second here, and then I'm going to get into the gratitude portion. Hey, buddy. Can I bother you for a second? Borrow you? Tomorrow he gets a haircut, and he is so in need of it. He's very scruffy, but I love Apollo, scruffy or not. So just waking up, but we'll let him say hello. This is his little cameo. With the earlier readings, sometimes he's like, Dad, just let me sleep. I want to just hang out here. A couple of quick reminders, and then I'm going to put Apollo down and go into the gratitude. I will be live on the weekend, Sunday, same time. Thanks, Apollo. So for now, I'm just going to keep them at 6 because my manager could not give me any guarantees of construction. She said it could happen anytime during the daytime. So I'm like, all right. So in order to kind of keep this quiet and nice, I'm just going to keep it early. And I know that I've lost a lot of viewers by doing that, but for now, that's all I can do. And I'd rather have quality recordings for this month. So a reminder that you can join me on Sunday for a weekend collective. And then next week, I'll be putting these videos up so you can hit the reminder for next week. We'll be looking at Cancer, Leo, and Virgo. And by the way, if you like what you see here, you can help me out by sharing that with some other folks. So again, thank you to everybody who hit the subscribe button and helped the channel grow. Please do click the share button here on YouTube and let other people see what's going on here, or retweet or reshare what I put on Facebook. I think I forgot this morning to post it, so I'll do something after this. And then, of course, Super Stickers, Super Chat, thank you for all that have done that. We're actually going to segue into that right now. But again, a reminder that my live schedule is on my website if you need it. All right, just giving a little bit of gratitude to those that showed up today. First of all, I see at least a couple members here. So thank you to all of my longtime members, Andre, Crystal, And let's see if there's someone else. I think that's it. Mary as well. I see you just did a brand new channel member, actually. So thank you so much. So, and Jules in July. So anyone that I missed, thank you. I'm just looking quickly at my monitor. Now let's welcome some of the new channel members, anyone that joined today and is becoming a part of this family. So we have, let's see, Mel Diaz 1, Mary Spears, Jenny Davis, Felicia Engel, Keela G, and I think that is everyone from the last day or so. So welcome to the new folks. Thank you to the older members. I appreciate your support. Honestly wouldn't be able to do this without you, so thank you. To anybody that gave some super chat or super stickers, we'll get through this pretty quick. There's just a short list today. So kicking things off, We Out Here Effect. Thanks. Good to see you again. Debbie McGinnis, Aurora Erica, Catalina Villanueva, Carolyn McIntyre, and Michelle DePoy. Thank you guys so much for showing up. A lot of you, I say your names a lot, so I remember them. So it's great to see you participate and keep coming back. I hope you enjoyed today's reading. It was kind of magical, I thought. So, not kind of magical, it was magical. I could tell it was going to be something because the star energy came through, and I was looking up at just constellations last night. So I woke up now I wake up at normal time. It was like 2:33 in the morning, and I thought, all right, we're going to have some important stuff to talk about. So, all right. Take care of yourself. Hope you enjoyed today, and we will see each other again on the weekend. Until then, have a great one. And again, I appreciate your time and your energy as well. Bye-bye.